as always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Uh, it's only natural. We're on a winning streak, baby. OU men's hoops, taking care of business. Did exactly what they were supposed to do. Handled the West Virginia at home like they should. It was a good win. It was a commanding win. Controlled the game. They're checking the boxes. It's still possible to get to the NCAA tournament. It's going to be hard. And they're going to have to, number one, go on the road and beat K-State, which is a feat that is not easily accomplished by OU basketball teams. But check that box, win a game or two in the Big 12 conference tournament, and got a really good shot at getting into the field of 68.
I feel like we said this quite a bit. When OU shoots the three well, pretty solid team.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty
you
solid
know what
team.
You're going to get everywhere else. You know you're going to get good, strong defense. And, you know.
I was really happy for Tanner Groves. Right? And how about the news? Did you see Fran Fascilla's tweet? That Tanner Groves and Elijah Harkless, he expects them both to come back. That's big.
Yep.
And maybe Mo Gibson as well. So that's a nice start for Porter Moser. But I feel like, I know I've been pretty tough on Tanner Groves lately. It was nice to watch him have a game where it looked like things came a little more easily to him. Like he just looked more comfortable. I thought he played really well in that game.
No, I agree. I thought everyone had just like a nice, well-rounded, efficient game. They needed a stress-free basketball game, right? They needed a stress-free win, and they got it. Get that confidence back up a little bit before you take that road trip up to a Kansas State team that is totally beatable. But again, that's been a very hard place for us to go and win.
How many do you think they got to win in the Big 12 tournament? Right, because so in all likelihood, let's say they beat K-State. That would make them the 7 seed in the Big 12 tournament, I believe. So they will have to play the 2 seed, which if Baylor and Kansas both win out, and I think Baylor only has one more game against Iowa State. So if they both win out, I believe Kansas, they'll split the Big 12 regular season title, but I believe Kansas would be the 1 seed because Kansas beat Texas Tech one time. They split with Tech, and Tech swept Baylor. I think that's the first tiebreakers, your record against the number 3 team in the league.
Yeah.
So they'd have to beat Baylor in their first game in the Big 12 tournament.
It's
possible.
Not what you want, but you know, at the end of the day, it's one of those weird things to where, would it be better if you would have finished 8 instead of 7 and try and get the win over the 9 seed? I don't know, but here's the thing: going into that game, you know what's in front of you. It's a must win. If you beat Kansas State and you've got Baylor right there waiting, you know, they've showed that they can hang, right? They've shown that they can play Baylor or Kansas tough, Tech tough. Now, it's a big ask to get over the hump and get that win, but you know, it's what you're going to have to do. It's basically round 1 of the tournament for you.
Yeah. I almost feel like they got to win the Big 12 tournament. That's where I'm at with it almost. It would almost be like, obviously you automatically get a bid if you win the Big 12 tournament, but I'm not sure if just getting to the Big 12 tournament finals would even be enough. I don't know, because I just looked at the bracketology right before we started recording. They're nowhere on it. Like, not first 4 out, not next 4 out, not in consideration. They're not on it. They're nowhere to be found on Lenardi's list.
It would go a long way if they got some help.
Right.
You know, and I guess that would be, you'd need the favorites to hold in conference tournaments, right? You don't want any shockers there with teams coming out of nowhere to get those automatic bids. So, yeah, it's going to take some work. It doesn't look good when you've got that massive stretch of red L's down the middle of your schedule through conference play.
Hold on. You're trying to tell me it's not ideal when you lose 11 of 13 at one point in the season?
What's crazy is they went 11 of 13 and were still in the tournament during pretty much that entire stretch, right? And then just here recently is when they've fallen off the radar. But I don't know. None of it matters if you don't beat Kansas State. So go up
Right.
there and get a tough road win.
Yeah. And then
And I'm
beat
also
Baylor.
interested to see what they do if they don't make the NCAA tournament. You think they'd accept NIT bid?
I would
We've turned
assume
it down in the
so.
past.
I would assume so, right? Porter, you would assume Porter wants to keep coach. I don't know. Maybe he'd rather start on next year. He doesn't seem like a guy that would turn it down though. Like if there's an opportunity to go compete, Porter Moser seems like a guy that wants every opportunity for his team to go compete. I could be wrong, but
Hey,
it's at Madison Square Garden. It's sweet. It's a cool trip to New York City. Why not?
some people think it's below them. Some people are embarrassed by it. I say, well, if that's the case, great. Let's go as a team and humiliate ourselves by playing in the NIT. And that way, next year, we know what we absolutely do not want to do. So, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, if you don't want the shame of playing in the NIT, don't let it happen again. It's that simple.
There you go.
All right, who do you have as your loser of the week?
Man, I had to go with Major League Baseball, man. It seems like the only time, we can get any MLB in the headlines as if it's something negative, and that's what's going on right now. The commissioner is not making any friends, whether it's in the media or with the players union. That has not gone well. You're starting to get a bunch of negative press out there, and this is how it always works. The owners get writers to write articles about how greedy the players are, and the players and others write articles about how greedy the owners are. So that's we're locked into that little game right now. So I don't know. It seems like a fairly easy way to get past all of this, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so the latest update is that they have canceled the first two series of the season. And Rob Manfred, I think a lot of people forget that he's just doing what the owners tell him to do.
Mm-hmm.
It is his job to take the heat. That's his job.
Yep.
It's his job to be the face of the of the people that aren't allowing baseball to be played on time. Like that's his job.
Yep.
He should
Punching
not
bag.
smile though. That was a bad move. Like you're canceling regular season baseball games for the first time in forever with the lockout, and you're smirking.
Right.
It's not a good visual. There's also the picture of him outside the meeting practicing his golf swing, which we all do. But the fact that they got a picture of him doing it, the optics, man, the optics are brutal for Manfred.
Right. And it all comes on the heels of him calling the World Series trophy a hunk of metal.
Yeah, a piece of metal.
Piece of metal.
I mean, the guy doesn't even like baseball. I'm
Join the
convinced he
crowd.
doesn't like baseball.
Well, he may not, but the man sure makes a ton of money off of the game via the owners. So I'm totally with you. Listen, I think they'll find a compromise at some point. I don't know why they have to have this big, like it's almost ceremonial about canceling games and canceled the first two series. Who cares about that? Just don't even worry about canceling games. Like you need to make some big to do about canceling games. Just get the contract done, right? Get the compromise done, get something in writing, and then at that point we can say, okay, it's done. We'll start playing on this date. So stupid.
One of my favorite things from Manfred's press conference was, I don't know who asked, but basically like, You could have been working on this for like months, like years. Why did you only start in the last 2 days? Like that's when it felt like, work was actually starting to get done. He was like, no. It's been like 10 days. Okay. it, I don't think it sounded as good as he thought it sounded coming out of his mouth. Like, whoa. No. We've been working on it for like 10 days, guys. It's just like, oh, I, I I imagine Roger Goodell and Adam Silver like calling each other and being like, "Hey, are you seeing this clown? Like, oh, we should send him an edible arrangement. This guy's making us look so good."
They've got like someone has to have his cell number and like can call him right before he walks up to the mic and just frazzle him, right? Let him do the rest of the bad work. That's funny.
Oh, that's good. All right, I'll give you my winners and losers, but first,
Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. Just look at the long, distinguished list of famous alumni like Gabriel Eichert right there. With a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis College Prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. There are numerous clubs and organizations for students to join, and as a proud member of the OSSAA, there are 14 sports offered. Is that the Hall of Fame?
Hall of Fame Shamrock, Ted.
Nice. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available.
And if you are a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you're doing, head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage Single Malt Whiskey. It was just voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn Whiskey.
It's made from blue corn. That's the fancy corn.
And that is why it has won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones pot stilled bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year round. In 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnny Walker and Macallan. It became the first American distillery to win the competition. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but the owners, yes, they are from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. All right, for my winner of the week, thought about going with capital letters because that letter from Kyler Murray's agent that he put out on his behalf was just preposterous. What?
All caps?
All caps. All so capital letters.
And it's like 6 paragraphs. At us? Was that supposed to be yelling? Is that if it's all caps?
It was entirely too long, and it all was capitalized. I mean, he could have just summed it up and just said, Kyler wants to get paid. Thank you. But we don't need all the words that were in the letter, and we certainly don't need them all to be capitalized. And I think he put chose or instead of choose. There was a typo in one of them too, and it drove me nuts. But tone it down with the all caps letter from the agent on behalf of the player. Don't need that. Don't need it.
Well, here's what I thought was, and I want Kyler Murray to get every single penny that he's capable of getting. Right? That I want that for him, and he deserves it. But here's the thing: whenever you put out a statement like that, and you talk about like how important it is for you to win a Super Bowl, and that's your only focus, the best time for an organization to make great ground towards winning a Super Bowl is when they have a quarterback on a rookie contract. If you can keep that there for at least some amount of time and go out and spend some of that other cap space on players to come in and help you and block for you and maybe get some depth at the skill positions and add some defensive players, that's how you go win a Super Bowl. Now, if you throw all that away and just go break the bank on your quarterback, it's going to make the rest of that way more difficult. So that was my only thing. It's like Cleveland's a great example of that. Like they've made some great headway on their roster while they had a quarterback on a rookie deal.
Yeah. And it's not like Arizona. Now, the offensive line, I think they can continue to bolster that unit, but he's got some pretty good offensive weapons around him also. I mean, it's not like he's playing with bums.
Nope.
And if Hopkins didn't get hurt, who knows what happens. But I don't know, that whole situation. Hey, but Kingsbury got extended. Keim, the GM, got extended. I would assume they're working on Kyler's deal. But my winner of the week, Kirk Herbstreit. I mean, Herbstreit had himself a week. So Troy Aikman, remember, he was reportedly being targeted by Amazon to be the analyst on Thursday Night Football. But Aikman ends up going to ESPN for a deal that is reportedly for $17.5 million per year for our man Aikman. So with Troy Aikman heading to ESPN for Monday Night Football, Amazon reportedly went after Sean McVay, trying to convince him to leave the sideline for the booth. And reportedly they were willing to offer him $20 million a year to do so. 5-year, $100 million offer is what has been reported. McVay said no thanks. So what does Amazon do? They now shift their focus to one Kirk Herbstreit, and they want him to be the lead analyst on Thursday Night Football. Reportedly, he is currently under contract with ESPN, where he is making approximately $6 million a year. What an awesome situation that he's in now, because it'll be interesting to see what he does, because he could do both, right? Do Thursday Night Football, then go do game day and go do the biggest game of the week on ESPN or ABC. I don't see why he couldn't do that. And it would be interesting to see what the language in his ESPN contract looks like. Because,
they'll change it.
Yeah, change it.
They'll change it to where he could do both, or else he's going to go do one for $20 million.
Yeah. So he could also completely leave all the college stuff for Thursday Night Football. I mean, I think at the very least, Amazon would give him $10 million a year at the very least. And what, he'd have to do one game a week? I mean, are you kidding me? He wouldn't have to travel for college game day and then get on the plane to go call the game if it's in a different location. Like, I think we all respect Herbstreit's grind, but go do Thursday Night Football. Like, it's not even a question. But if he doesn't want to do Thursday Night Football, let's say, hey, no. I love being the voice of college football. Well, he can still use this for contract leverage on ESPN, especially now that he knows how much money they're giving Troy Aikman. Like, Herbstreit's got to see that and be like, hey, I get it. I'm not Troy Aikman, but he shouldn't be making triple of what I make with everything I do for the college football coverage on this network. I just feel like this has been the best week of Kirk Herbstreit's life. This guy, what an awesome situation he's in, man.
It is. It's an awesome situation. I don't know how in the hell he's in the situation, frankly. But ESPN, they better learn their lesson on this deal. I'm just telling you right now. Sean McVay, he's smart. He's outgoing. He's energetic. Troy Aikman, I love Troy Aikman. He's got a ton of credibility. He's been doing this for a long time. No one watches games because of those guys. You don't watch the game because of them. They happen to be on. You may turn it off because you can't stand whoever's calling the game, but people don't tune in for the broadcaster. And Amazon is upping the stakes so much, $20 million for a Thursday night football game. I'm telling you, if they let that college football playoff contract expire and go out to a bidder, they're about to lose their ass to Amazon. Because it's whatever. It's funny money, man. Doesn't even matter. 20 million, sure, whatever it takes. It's throwaway money.
Bezos can just take a little bit out of the rocket budget, man.
Yeah. That's crazy. That is insane. Herbstreit is a really nice guy. He's been a great face of college football because he's like, he doesn't ever do anything bad or say anything wrong because he doesn't ever say anything really. He just plays it like right down the middle, not very opinionated, which
he just calls the game. I mean,
yeah.
I think he does. He's the perfect example of a guy, like, he's knowledgeable. He sprinkles in, some things that he clearly has gathered from conversations with the staffs. He just calls the game. Like, he lets the game breathe. I think he does a really good job. Like, he hasn't gotten to where he's at for no reason. You know what I mean?
No, I kind of agree with that, but I think there's other guys that are way better, but with being way better, you may get them saying something off cuff or something like that. Like, he is the Ron Burgundy of calling football games. It is like right here. There's no like off the wall information. There's no guessing about what may happen or an opinion as to what happened. It's like right there. So I don't know. I'm shocked that they're throwing, that is just pretty much the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, that they're paying these guys that much money. But hey, if they're offering it up, go grab it, man.
Yeah, I'll say this about Herbstreit and the whole Thursday night football thing. I think he'll try to do it all, but I think he'll have a really tough time giving up the college gig because I think he's the voice of college football.
He's looked at as an expert in college football. In the NFL, he's not a nobody, but it's just not his circle.
Yeah, and this may sound a little dramatic, but with his role in college football, like, his voice is part of history in a way, right? His voice is part of some of the biggest games in the sport.
All of the biggest games, really.
All the biggest games, right? And right now,
everything.
He's on the call for those games. That's not what Thursday night football is. No matter how much money they give you, like, there not going to be any iconic calls on Thursday night football. I mean, it's Thursday night football, but I don't know. Maybe if he thinks Amazon's going to get more and more involved with the NFL, maybe he goes to Amazon, convinces him to start getting more involved with college football. I don't know. Maybe he becomes the Amazon guy. Good options.
Yeah, great options. That's just crazy. It's absurd. For
he is going to get
games?
a massive check to go do this, and I can't wait to tell you about it, just to see your reaction.
It's so bad, but hey, I'm kind of happy for him. I'm jealous as hell, but kind of happy.
All right. You're clearly overjoyed. All right, for my loser of the week, I hate to pile on Phil Mickelson, but man, it's been a rough go of it for Lefty. So remember, the Saudi-backed Super Golf League he was involved with has basically fallen apart. His comments certainly didn't help things, and those comments have lost him all kinds of sponsors. We talked about KPMG bailing, Amstel Light bailing. Now Workday is out, and Callaway has paused their partnership with him. He'll no longer host the American Express PGA event this year, and his foundation also won't be part of that event anymore. But Phil took another hit on Wednesday, and it was via the GOAT, via Tiger Woods. So back in December, Phil tweeted that he had finished first in the PGA Tour's inaugural Player Impact Program, which is essentially a way for the PGA Tour to give extra money to the most popular players in golf, the guys that move the needle by the metrics that they use. And this was supposed to be something that was kind of supposed to balance out these leagues that were trying to pull PGA players away from them, like trying to steal the most popular guys. Well, Phil tweeted that he was going to win, and well, it turns out he didn't win that. Tiger Woods did, even though he hasn't played golf in forever. And Tiger Woods collected the $8 million that comes with finishing first in the PIP program. And Tiger quote tweeted Phil's tweet saying he finished first, and all he said was, "Whoops." So good, man. It's so good. Phil can't get a W right now. He's just holding the L's left and right, Ted.
It's crazy. And the best part about it is, credit to Phil. He's been putting in work on social media, videos and all kinds of stuff.
Bombs.
Dropping bombs. Tiger Woods won $8 million basically for a driving range video of him hitting balls for the first time and a father-son round in a tournament. That basically made him $8 million.
And I think it was Patrick Cantlay. I saw some quotes from. He was basically like, man, I wish this was more. It was more about like performance on the golf course. And then he was like, but I really can't be that mad that Tiger won it because he's the whole reason we all make this much money now, which yes, true. So I saw that tweet from Tiger Woods. Whoops. And he did the shrug emoji in there. Oh, Phil Mickelson. Now, Phil Mickelson did finish second and he got $6 million. So don't feel bad for him. And the other guys on there, Rory, Spieth, DeChambeau, and JT got $3.5 million. DJ, Koepka, John Rahm, and Bubba Watson got $3 million each. So
still a nice bonus, man.
Pretty sweet bonus. But yeah, Phil Mickelson, no, he didn't win like he tweeted. I thought it was so funny because like, even though he got second, like the fact that Tiger quote tweeted it, and it was just, I mean, it was just another hit that Phil had to take this month. It was just brutal, man.
I don't even know how they measure that metric or whatever, but he's going back through and fact checking to make sure he didn't actually win it right now. He's combing through every single post, seeing where all the traffic is. Feel bad for you, Lefty, but made for a great moment today.
Okay. It is determined by 5 metrics: their popularity in Google searches, their Q rating, the Nielsen brand exposure rating, the MVP index rating, and their meltwater mentions, which measure the frequency that a player generates coverage across various media platforms. Thanks to ESPN for that information. Thank you, Mark Schleybaugh. You're the man.
Wow.
Sounds complicated, but yeah, Tiger Woods is the most popular golfer ever. So yeah, he's going to win. He's going to win till part of me thinks Tiger Woods is never going to die, but he's going to win till he dies, right? I mean, he's Tiger Woods.
He's going to win forever.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he's not playing, like, if let's say he doesn't play anything this year, and maybe he's not, I don't know.
He hasn't golfed.
All he has to do is like go take some video of him playing a round at his local course with Aaron Rodgers or something. It's just small stuff like that with Tiger Woods generates just an enormous amount of, traffic across the world.